Hello there, Bic Benedict here. We're playing Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Series X, and this is my Master Ninja difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Chapter 3 of 14. It is entitled Thunderclap of Catastrophe. So, on this first gauntlet, you've got about, God knows how many Vangelfs, but did you notice that crack in the ground that I jumped from, and then did my on-landing 360Y input? That's about where you want to jump from. Just do a nice far jump and input that that UT command, and then that should kill you 1 to 2 of the Vangelfs. You might only get 1, but on this first area, don't forget to pick up that item right there. And then, do you see where I'm heading off to right over here now? There are 3 locations on this first area of the gauntlet where, when you stand near some of the cars of the geography, there's going to be bats that spawn at 3 separate locations, and that's the first of them. And the reason that you might want to avail yourself of those bats, and by the way, don't throw shurikens at the bats because he's likely to not aim at the bats, he'll aim at the Vangelf. So use the Y attack with the Lunar to kill the bats, because you want to use the essence that you get from the bats to expedite charges, because you often will not have enough time to get a UT, but if you've got several essences out from bat drops, you'll easily be able to get a UT. So I've got the Lunar here at level 3, but I am going to switch over, and I'll show you the last location. That was the second location over there. But now, to finish off the rest of these guys, I'm going to switch to my Falcon's Talons. It's only at level 2, but you only need level 2 to do the move that I'm doing now that I mentioned in the last video, which is forward Y. And it has an extremely high amount of D-limb capacity to it. So you go up to an enemy and he does a sliding attack that eviscerates them and they lose a limb. So it's extremely reliable, very effective. And what I do is I kill 2 of them using that method, wait till the second essence gets staggered, and then I go for my my UT. So I think we're actually finished up killing them now. But if you remember no other move that I mentioned, remember the forward Y with the talons. So I'm going to head on over here. This box over here has a red essence, so come back to it later when you need it. But here's the last location of the bats. And just notice that I don't get much health. I didn't get many drops in the first place of blue essence right there. You can, if you want to, you can come all the way up here before you even kill that Vangelf wave and get this wind blades here, but then you'll have to fight the Vangelfs with these enemies over here. So you could generally get off a charge, at least an ET at the beginning. But what I'm trying to not do here is I'm trying not to fall back too much, because if I fall back too much, then I'm going to despawn those archers. And in any other scenario, that would be perfectly fine, because unspawning enemies that are just cheap as shit seems like it's fair karma for them. But I'm just trying not to go back too far. Apparently coming back to this far doesn't unspawn them, because what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to show you methods of dealing with those archers in case you don't want to unspawn them, you know, if you want to kill everybody. In fact, I might have had one of those 2 archers unspawn. We'll have to see what happens. But if I remember correctly, I don't think either of those 2 ones unspawned. So if you're in the situation over here, see, we've got one guy over here. Sometimes you'll have an archer on the stairs to the left of him, and sometimes you'll have an archer go over to the right, near to where a box is that contains blue essence. But on these, you want to do a jumping arrow attack to stun the enemy, and then get an on-landing arrow ET to finish that enemy. Well, not to finish him, but to delimb him, and then you could work with him. So remember, a jumping arrow to stun, and then in the same fluid motion as you land, get an arrow ET charged, and you'll have just enough time. By the way, right when you get up there, you want to fall back. Falling back will not unspawn those archers. But for instance, and by the way, there will be 2 sets of IS ninjas that come down the stairs to greet you. But for instance, say you went back to that chest that had the Nympho essence in it, you would definitely unspawn the archers that are going to be coming up in our wake in just a minute to give us a bunch of problems that I guess we deserve since we're playing the game. But watch this guy too gets in an IS on me. Fucking bastards. You know, you take them for granted and you just end up getting killed. It's pretty sad. But anyway, did we already pick up that? Now, see, I think I'm going to switch to my Inferno. Because if there are any of these archers up here that are right next to each other, I can get a collective kill on them. But what you want to basically do is just dash towards them, close in the distance, and use your Flying Swallow Azuna drops to kill them. But the problem is they're dealing you damage, but you do get dealt less damage if you're just guarding and dashing that way. And if you're trying to dash and then jump at them, they'll hit you every time and you get hit even harder. So, or you can just do a combination like I did. I did a couple of I used the Inferno once to kill that pack of enemies, and then I did some Flying Swallow Azuna drops. Now when you come down here, the mages will get down here real fast on you. So what I would do is kill them quickly, and then you can fall back as much as you can over here, because these guys take time to rush down the stairs to get you. And in fact, I got my health back over here, so I presumed that there was no more enemies around. But that's not always 100% accurate, because as I came up here, I noticed that somebody was throwing something at me, and it was this guy here. So a little bit of misleading information right there. But if you're always cautious about it, because I just had a gut feeling that something was wrong, that I got my life back too quickly there. And what happened was they gave me my health back, but the reason that they did that was because I was so far away from the enemy that they thought I was kind of out of the fight, so to speak. But now, speaking of fights, I really wouldn't call this a fight. I would normally put something like this in fast forward, but it kind of degrades from the integrity of the whole thing that we're doing here. But you've got these bat fiends over here, and at times like this, you wonder why they don't just give you an unlimited amount of arrows, because it just seems like it's redundant to have to keep filling up on arrows. I understand why they give you they give you an allotment and then you have to keep going back and buying them, but they really aren't as overpowered as something like the incendiary shurikens, which they definitely put a cap on and make expensive and give you a rough time of fighting them sometimes on drops and things. But you can shoot twice in the air if you want to as well, and you can do on landing arrow UTs or ETs, but if Ryu is not facing them directly, your ET is likely to miss. And even if he does seem to be looking directly at them, he'll miss too sometimes. So the better idea is to just let the essence come to you while you're doing this, and don't do any charges if you can help it. If you want to, and I would recommend this, because this is just not, it's really not a fight, it's just pure shit. To spawn these guys, go back to the save point, save your progress, reload out of the game, restart, they'll be gone. They're really not worth it. They are susceptible to physical attacks too. If they ever are close to you, they have a very small amount of resistance to physical attacks. And I only learned that recently when I was doing one of the missions, and I was doing the Quetzalcoatl missions where they have those bat fiends as lackeys. Oh, by the way, after you're done with that fight, you might as well come down here and save it. We're going to save it once more after we do another one of these encounters down here. Now, you can do these encounters in any order you like. I think I'm going to merge a couple of these fights over here. Now, when you drop down over here, the mages are immediately going to be on you. What I would not recommend is to jump down into the fray below, because that down there is a fight with a bunch of IS Ninja, and if you combine the two enemies, you could have a potentially harder time. You probably will, just because the mages are just so full of shenanigans. It's not funny. I'm not sure what I was doing here. I thought I would bring him up here and try to bounce off his head and have enough time to do a UT. It actually did work out for me. See, none of the other hits hit, but the last hit, which is an instant kill, hit. So I got him with that. And then I think now I remember that there's an item over here. So this is a Devil Way Mushroom. I thought about saving it, and I might even save it. We'll have to see. So I'm going up the ladder now, contemplating saving it. But then I decided to combine this fight with the last one, then save it, because I'll be close to the save point anyway. But what this is archers on the other side that are best taken care of from a vantage point such as this. You want to gradually creep up as far as you can so that they're not shooting at you. And then you do an arrow UT, and then just wait until the essence comes into you. It will come into you by and by. After you've killed the last one, the essence will come into you extremely quickly, indicating that the fight's over. So there's about 6 or 7 of these guys, and if they're ever right on top of each other, you can get double kills, which is nice. That will speed it up a little bit. But you need to be in a position where they're not shooting at you. If they're shooting at you, there's no hope of you succeeding on this, because they're just going to juggle you forever. But it looks like that's the end of it. And now, again, since we are close to the save point, we might as well save it first before we go down and do a difficult fight. And that difficult fight is going to be the one that I mentioned before, the one with the IS Ninjas. And remember in the last video I was talking about how I often miss, I don't get my fly swallow Azuna drop, like that right there. I never miss when I don't incorporate the wind run into it. I'm perfectly fine with that input, but whenever I do the wind run into the flying swallow, into the the wind run into the rest of it, the flying swallow, and then the Azuna drop, that's when I just get all discombobulated. But whenever I don't have to press A plus X into Y, and instead if I just aim the analog and press Y and then follow that up with XY, I never miss those. It's when I add the wind run into the whole thing, and you really don't need to add the wind run, but it is the prescribed way of doing it, and it is more accurate. But sometimes you have to compensate for how you as a gamer play. Yes, there might be a prescribed way of doing things, but if you're doing that prescribed way of doing it and it's not working for you, and it's just getting you killed more often than not, and you're better at doing the more unorthodox way of doing it, by all means, you're the one that's playing the game, and play it the way that you need to play it. Because that particular set of inputs, it's not something that's going to ruin your whole campaign. Trust me. The manual fly swallow into the Azuna drop is just as well, I don't know about saying just as good, but it does the job reasonably well, and you can get by with it. But when you drop down here, the moment you drop down here, there's going to be two guys up here. Now these guys clustered up in a bunch over here, and I decided to use my Nimpu over here. I was confused though, because sometimes these guys come after you like one at a time. It just so happened that they're all bunched up for me over here, and I got completely thrown, so to speak, and I didn't know what was going on, and I just got so distracted that I was getting hit, because I think it just has to do with their spacing is all. But we are going to be coming up, and I wanted to talk about one of the upgrades that's coming up. It's the Jewel of the Demon Seal. It's the first one of them. And incidentally, over here, this box over here, it'll either have mutant bats or 1,000 in essence. So I would definitely go for the essence, unless you want to use the bats in case you want to try to get Nimpo or something. But we've got an area down here with, it's just a large area with IS Ninja. But the upgrade that's coming up, and oh, before I talk about that, do you recall in the first video that I was mentioning that the combo and the multiplier, the multiplier, I wasn't sure at what value it topped off at, meaning that if you are trying to get a high combo and you're not sure exactly what number you need to work up to, and because there's really no point to getting too high of a combo and not getting any more results. There has to be a point at which you can get the maximum amount of money. So the point that I found was somewhere around 40 to 45 hits. So remember the first enemy that I was doing that tactic where I severed his leg, and then I proceeded to throw shurikens at him to build up my combo, and I think I got like 100 hit combo. And I was telling you that's a good way, because the combo and the multiplier has a drastic effect on how much essence you get from that kill. So it is redundant to go as high as 100, and I believe I heard somewhere it's 40. I did some cursory testing though, and I couldn't pinpoint it exactly, but somewhere around 40 to 45 is the point at which you want to stop, because doing it beyond that is going to, I mean, you could do it however much you want to, but it's not going to give you any more money beyond 40 to 45, somewhere in between there. So I apologize that I can't narrow it down anymore, but I think that's narrowed down pretty well. And somebody probably in the future will maybe write a comment and find that out for us. But when that first yellow Van Gelf spawns over here, you need to make sure that you evade, and I would take him out first. He's worth quite a lot of money. And as far as upgrades go, we still have the Lunar at level 3, the Dragon Sword at level 2, and the Falcon's Talons at level 2. I would not recommend... Oh, I love that getting... Did you see what happened? I think he jumped at me and he was completely off the screen. I had really no way of knowing that was coming. But until I say differently, I would not recommend upgrading your Dragon Sword to level 3. Keep it at level 2, because you are going to get a free upgrade at Chapter 11 up to level 4. So... we might on Alexei. It's a good weapon, but I mean, there's other good weapons as well. But it's all about, early on in the game. It's all about, and as you go through the game, it's all about trying to get as much essence as you can, because the upgrades on Master Ninja are costly, and when you add that to buying items and things like that, it really adds up. So. We're just going to do as much as we possibly can, even if it takes us a little longer, to get as much essence as possible. And as far as the Jewel of the Demon Seal, harping back to that now, which is on this corpse right over here that we're standing over, be careful about... In fact, you might even want to have a different save in case you change your mind. But if you are going to be going through the Test of Valor, because it's a hard test of valor, but it's one that you can make a lot of money on if you play it right. You don't want to upgrade the wind blades to level 2 if you're going to be doing the test of valor, because it'll be too strong on enemies and you'll end up killing them when you ideally want to delimb them. And we're mostly talking about the IS Ninja and the Gray Ninja. This box has red essence in it if you want to, but I'm not going to upgrade anything quite yet. This chest is going to give us the value of that item, which is a herb, So once you drop down that ladder, come up here, and it's just little things like this that will help you build up money. Coming up here, sniping these guys. I think there's 3 of them. But if you want to save, if you want to wait for, because the Wind Blades is one of the best Nimpos, if not the best Nimpo, but it's going to be a hindrance on the Test of Valor. It's just going to be too strong for what you need to do. So in lieu of that, upgrade the Inferno, but if you can help it, just don't upgrade anything just for the time being. At least you get to at least until you get to the next chapter. And there'll be another Jewel of the Demon Seal there, and then you could then you could work with that. But the great thing about the Wind Blades is that they cut up the enemy so quickly that the essence gets staggered more quickly than the Inferno, because the Inferno, the body has to burn up, and it takes a long time. If you do drop down over here and circle back, there will be a chest that has either mutant bats in it or 1,000 in essence. I end up not going over there and getting it because it's just too out of the way. But when you come over here, you're going to spawn 2 of these gold Van Gelfs, and traditional wisdom has it that if you're not looking at the enemy, so to speak, if you turn the camera off the enemy, it pacifies somewhat. But these gold Van Gelfs, they will still throw fireballs at you even if you turn the camera away from them. With the purple Van Gelfs, though, they generally will not throw their projectile if you turn the camera away from them. So that's why you'll see me doing that, turning the camera away from them, because it will pacify them, so to speak. But this guy down here never comes up, so you want to jump down real quick. One of the deadliest moves that they have is that they'll pounce on you, and it's an absurd amount of damage. I'm not sure how I handle these Van Gelfs down here, if I go back or not, because you can run back and do the same sort of technique of sniping them. But with these ones, they have such agility that they will hop from platform to platform over to you. But there's a point at which they can no longer jump from the platform that they're on. It's the one that's it has that handlebar separating it, but it's really just not worth it, because you've got so many other opportunities. We're going to be killing some of those pill bugs, as I've heard them called, coming up, and they're going to give us a ton of money if we get our multiplier up. And this guy's just standing down here, so he's giving us a good opportunity to hit him. And then there's also going to be a Life of the Gods coming up over here. So this will be for all intents and purposes, I will be finding every item, but that doesn't apply to any of the crystal skulls. I've already picked those up. I'm not going to be finding every chest, though. For instance, I just mentioned that I ran past one chest that was out of the way. Watch out for these guys. These guys could give you a real hard time. The fact that they cannot be staggered is absolutely ridiculous. It's an overpowered enemy that has too good of an aim that cannot be staggered. It's absolutely absurd that they have that much posture that you can't break their posture. It's something I firmly disagree with. That's called being unbalanced. So here's the Life of the Gods. And as far as my money, I think at this point I have around 40,000, but I'm going to be showing you some techniques up ahead where you can get bow UTs on some enemies in a really nifty fashion coming up over here. So make sure you save your progress, because when you do your flying bird flip up here, there will be 2 Van Gelfs. These guys are worth, I believe, at base value with a UT, I think it's over 1,000 each. We might have got more there though, because we were at 30. And once we start getting the Tonfa, That thing racks up combo like crazy. And then over here you've got a chest that I would recommend manipulating because it has Ghostfish or 1,000 in essence. So, you know, it's just a difference of getting 1,000 or, you know, somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000. Just wait till they've all stopped and then charge. I would recommend using the Inferno over here because there's one piece of shit that is placed really far away from you, and in between this guy, which is an archer, there's more of these guys over here. So if luck favors you, you'll get your Nimpo back, but they really are stingy about giving out Nimpo on this game. And then once this wave is dead, once you kick down the door, you're going to spawn the next fight. But it's only a portion of the fight that we're going to do right now, because we're going to immediately kick down the door and then fall back and then jump down. And there's going to be about 4 or 5 of these guys that will jump down. Sometimes they won't come over to you, so you have to move. And then every time that happens, you don't have enough time to do your UT. See how I'm waiting for this guy to come down, and it's because of my position. He's not coming down. So try to get the UTs, but just realize that you might not have enough time to do it. And you know, maybe if like me you're missing a Nimpo, maybe try to do an Azuna drop and get your Nimpo back. But it looks like that should be over because we got our health back right there so quickly. You need to equip your dragon sword over here, though. Oh, it's not done. I didn't actually. I've never done this before, actually, but you could spawn some Van Gelfs over here and come back and shoot them through this gate. It's actually pretty nice. I'm sorry. There's quite a few of these ones. There's a mission involving a bunch of ninja in this location. I really hate it. Oh yeah, okay, so after the IS ninjas are dealt with, you're going to want to be sniping the archers over here, and their AI is kind of broken at this point. They just run towards you. This top guy is running into invisible railing up here. So after you do your bow UT, you don't want to hold down the B button again, because he'll end up charging an attack, and you don't want that. So you want to be pulling the essence into you, dragging it into you. You want all of these. It's called absorbing. Anytime you just let the essence come into you, it's known as absorbing the essence. And sometimes it just won't come into you. I believe that one did come up to us quickly, which is an indicator that there are no more enemies over there. So equip your dragon sword over here, because we want to do the flying swallow across this gap, because if we go down there, there's Van Gelfs. So what you do, if you want to jump off, you press left trigger and then just climb up the ladder really quickly. You'll have plenty of time, and then just fly swallow back over here, and you can snipe these Van Gelfs. I know this seems tedious and everything, but this is all just to get money, because they're, like I said, things are so expensive, and there's a lot of hard shit coming up that you need to be ready for. And what happened to me on many sessions over here is that the Van Gelf that I wouldn't kill with a UT at first would get caught in the fan. But you still get credit for it, and you still get the money. I wanted to talk about the Test of Valor too, because it's a pretty rough one, excuse me, but it does give you a Lies of the Thousand Gods, and the thing about it is it's so difficult that you're probably going to exhaust your items, so you have to probably rebuy everything that you've used. Although when you leave those Tests of Valor, they do fill your health up and your Nimpo, so that's good. But it's a long one, and in the description of these videos, I've put in the links for the Test of Valors, and the method I used when I made the video in 2014 is the one that I still use. So I've got nothing else to add to it except to say that it is going to possibly deplete your inventory, but you can make a good amount of money on it, and you'll walk away with a Lives of the Thousand Gods, and that can help you possibly with saving some of your resources. But the Lives of the Thousand Gods, they can't be used more than once, whereas we're going to be making so much money on this walkthrough that you'll be able to buy items as much as you want to. So you'll need to be cautious about using your items that only have one use for them. Okay, so I would definitely recommend upgrading this. On the Test of Valor, I noticed that the IS ninjas, they still take 2 Azuna drops, Fly Swallow Azuna drops with level 3 Falcon's Talons. The mages take 1. They probably take 2 with the level 2 Falcon's Talons. But over here, I like to just run against the walls here and throw the shurikens at these guys. You've got a couple of rough sections coming up, and it is made easier by the fact that you have an infinite amount of incendiary shurikens. It does have to be noted that the body over here that has the shurikens, you can get them as many times as you want to, but it'll be the last time that you can get them until the next chapter in Muramasa, because the final Muramasa on this stage, she doesn't sell them for some reason. I'm not sure if it was an oversight or the fact that they put the body there, that they decided not to have them be able to get purchased over there. But this chest has fish or 1,000 in essence. I would definitely recommend trying to get the fish, and then we'll move up here. And this part is pretty bad. I did save before this because I don't like this part at all. There's a couple of archers over here that you'll need to deal with. If you run down there, you'll run the risk of getting hit by too many incendiary shurikens, plus getting hit by the archers, which take an enormous amount of health off you if you get hit by their arrows. So try to stay back as much as you can and just pelt the guys with incendiaries that are running up this hill. And they normally won't come into this area. They'll come pretty close. They might even pass the threshold of where the fan area was that you destroyed, this fan right here. But they do stay back, but they're still dangerous. There's quite a lot of them, but hopefully you can get back some of your health and nimpo on dealing with these guys. So for the boss of this chapter, I would recommend having the lunar at level 3. Having the dragon sword up to level 3 it can be helpful because it's a pretty good weapon to use on the boss of the next chapter. So don't discount that too much, because yeah, you get a free upgrade to level 4 on chapter 11, but from here to there, it's a long time. So you might want to upgrade the dragon sword to level 3. It won't hurt anything for sure. But here are the archers, and Gigadeath went pretty well for me. I didn't have to use any items, except I did use the Lives of the Thousand Gods. Okay, so pick up more incendiaries. You can try to shoot them with arrows over here. And then just be careful, because getting to the next save point, it can be a little inconvenient. There's a point at which you can go, when you're swimming in the water, there's an overturned a subway car, like train car, you don't want to go up on that thing because you'll spawn bats. And they do a really crummy thing too with the bats at the end. They spawn bats right when you get to the shore where the statue is, and they spawn incendiary ninjas too. So I would recommend using the YYY attack with the lunar for the bats. But if you get overrun, use the wind blades. And definitely, I am going to be upgrading my wind blades to level 2, but not until after the Test of Valor, because as I mentioned, I think I'm going back for the grains over here. The wind blades at level 2 is too strong to deal with the enemies that you don't want to kill but just dismember. So it's actually a bad idea to upgrade the wind blades prior to the Test of Valor, if you're planning on doing the Test of Valor, because you'll see in my video that it's not a good idea to upgrade it to level 2. But after that, feel free. This train car over here, don't mantle onto that and go up there because there's bats. There's nothing up there. So just swim through this tunnel down here, and just remember that you might want to put your wind blades on for this. Just remember that the second you get up here, they're going to spawn those things, and then a couple of IS ninjas, I think one maybe fell to his death in the water. There might only be 2 of these ninjas. There's 2 or 3 if I remember, but maybe just 2. So save, and now you're going to be climbing up here. Yeah, you can get easily hit doing that. It's really unfortunate that they put that nonsense there where you're trying to go up and there's archers there. There's one on the other side over here. Putting him off the screen doesn't stop him from shooting arrows, though. It's only with the Vangelis. So when you cross the way, you'll spawn one of them, and then you'll see him doing something like this every time. So just bow UT him. And then we're going to be doing the same thing on this next wave of Vangelis. You go up to about here, you fall back, and just remember to keep... What happened there? Oh, I fell off, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to have to have you watch that in real speed, so I fast forward it, so to speak, and then just listen for that fizz of when they die, that fizzling sound, because it means that that you've killed them. And then what you want to do is just pull the essence over to you, and just remember, keep them off of the camera, because if you do, that will prevent them from shooting their projectiles at you. And we've got another one doing this, so it seems like us going over here kind of causes them to do that. And then this part over here is just, it's a great opportunity to make a lot of money, but it's difficult because you have to separate the enemies if you want to do this in a productive way. So there's bugs down here, and then the hard part is getting up here, getting back up here. The thing is, you want to kill all these Vangelis up here. You don't want to fall back too much, because you'll either unspawn the bugs, or you'll cause them to have less of a quantity. Because what you want to do is you want to kill all these enemies. See, this is about as far back as you want to go. Use the Falcon's talents to do forward Y and then OT them, because what we want to do is make money off of the bugs, and they're kind of hard to make money off of too in this environment because it's smallish, and there's a hill kind of part to it, and the UT, the standard UT, it has to connect with an enemy for it to fully animate. And you often just don't have enough time to jump away from them and sustain your combo, and get a UT. So it has to be done really fast. Fortunately, there's nothing that's getting thrown at you, no shurikens or anything. It's just bugs, so you're not going to have your combo getting broken by anything else. But what you want to do is get your combo, in a highish number, around 40 or so, 30, maybe 25 or 30, because it'll go up when you're hitting them with the lunar. But you want to do the regular lunar UT, not the 360Y lunar, because you want to do group damage, and the regular UT is good for doing group damage. It's just that you have to be close enough to hit them and still be able to get off a charge before they hit you, and sustain your combo at the same time. So it's a little difficult. And if you can't get off a UT, just get off an ET. That's not going to give you as much money, but I had some essence in the environment there, fortunately, so we were able to get a 60 hit combo there, absorb all the essence. And then I believe I've put all of this in fast forward. So it's basically, you just want to throw shurikens at them to build up your combo as much as you can, and then jump away, get your on landing charge, and see the hill down here too. I'm distrustful of it because I don't think that the charge is going to work, because often it'll break because of that hill there. And if these guys jump on you, it takes away so much damage. It's just absolutely absurd. I don't understand some things in this game. You look at the damage and you're just thinking, like Sidonius, some of the bosses, some of the enemies, like the blood gouges, they just take too much damage off of you than normally, like the normal damage you get dealt on Master Ninja is pretty fair. I'm not talking about like grabs and things like that, because I think grabs are unfair in and of themselves. But things like a bug hitting you, I don't understand why it takes so much. But you see, it's just a small environment, and I didn't mention too, I think if you go down the hill forward enough, you'll spawn some ninjas too. So you're kind of confined, and maybe you don't. Maybe you have to go up enough. So now you should have quite a bit of money. In fact, I think I had at the save point 80,000 some essence. I mean, you could have much more than that. But I did go through the Test of Valor, and then once I was out of it, I had to rebuy all my items. So it looks like if you go up to about where I was, you'll spawn him. So if you are fighting the bugs and you don't want to deal with these guys at the same time, just stay far enough back. Yeah, I had to rebuy all of my items, which lowered me to about like 30,000. But I had all my upgrades for my weapons that I was satisfied with, and I had the Lives of the Thousand Gods. And there's going to be plenty of chapters where you can earn a lot of money. If you do think you might need a Talisman of Rebirth for Gigadeath, you can buy one over here. But there's going to be one on the next chapter as well for free. So you might want to, just use regular healing items. He damages you pretty fast is the thing too. And I wasn't going to use the Lives of the Thousand Gods, but since I only have the base amount of health, I decided to do it. The Lives of the Thousand Gods, they only give you a very incremental amount of health, and they should be thought of as healing items, because the amount of health that you get from using them is not very significant. So it's not going to be it's not about that. I mean, all of them adding up is what you're looking for, but over here you've got one or two guys spawning by the Test of Valor site over there. So I would use Nimpo on them if you have to. because it's kind of cheap the way they're put there. And the good thing again is that there's a shop over here. You can upgrade, and you can purchase supplies. And then we're going to move on to this. So when you jump down here, there's going to be two guys in the subway car. You can avoid their shots by staying down here if you want to, but on the other side there's going to be another archer that spawns, so you'll want to watch out for him. And then for the Van Gelfs, I would use the incendiaries plus your forward Y with the Falcon's Talons. But just remember that before you do get to Gigadeath, you want to switch to your bow so that you don't have to equip it every time. Make sure you're maxed out with arrows, although there are arrows there. But when you start fighting him, you want to just start fighting him. You don't want to go for arrows every time. It doesn't take too long, and it's not the end of the world, but you'll probably want to have the wind blades equipped as well. So upgrade that to level 2, and have the lunar equipped, and ideally have it to level 3, because in addition to using the bow, you can be doing 360 YUTs on him, and it's really good. And he's a pretty cheap boss, hated by many people, including myself. I don't like it. Anyway, we landed up here on that Azuna drop, so might as well just save it. I didn't plan that. But anyway, so come on back here now. And this next fight's pretty rough. So I'm going to advise you to use the wind blades if you need to. Try to use it as minimally as you can, though. So try to jump out of this, get an on-landing charge if you can. I knew he wouldn't jump all the way back. That's why I didn't release my charge. I just let him jump, because I died a number of times over here. So when you are in the middle of these guys, use the wind blades if you need to. Execute them as fast as you can. Be aware of staggered essence. Jump away. Use your 360Y. It's fantastic. And in the meantime, to recover your health and your Nimpo, use the incendiaries, because you get a chance of getting health and Nimpo back from those, and you're not gonna get anything back from OTs. And I think have we seen? Yeah, I think we saw one gold Van Gelf earlier. Their stomp is just incredibly deadly. The purple Van Gelfs have one too, and it's awful too. But I think on base health, these guys the gold ones can one-shot you, so it's pretty disgusting. But yeah, Gigadeaths. So when you're on bosses in this game, to take the camera out of fixed camera, you press the right bumper, and you can move it back by pressing the right bumper again. So it's going to start you in fixed camera, but if you want that off, press the right bumper. Try to get arrow UTs into his face as much as you can, and he's going to come at you right away. And what you want to do is stand behind the closest pillar and charge a 360Y UT with the lunar. And he shouldn't start throwing his tiny fish until a little time after that. The bad thing about this boss is that it's hard to consistently dodge his attacks, because they're so widespread. He has lightning attacks. He has a mask that he throws out that I think it's instant death with base health, and he has the fish. So to avoid his attacks, sadly, my best advice is to use Nimpo. So you're going to be using a lot of Nimpo. You're going to be hopefully getting enough back as well. But here's the fight right away. Charge your arrow UT. I don't think I got very much. Sometimes you get a lot more. But anyway, here's that pillar that I was talking about. Wait until he comes as close as possible, and then do this attack. Now this attack makes up a lot for the inadequacies of the bow UT. Although sometimes you get some really good results with the bow UT. But at about this time, he's going to start to fire his projectiles and the fish. So remember to use the wind blades if you want to. If you have the Inferno up to level 2, you probably want to use the strongest Ninpo that you have. And also, in addition to just throwing Ninpo, if the fish are coming at you, try to get a charge off as quickly as you possibly can, but make sure it's this charge here. It's probably one of the best in the game. So here I'm going to, and you can see my essence amount. I have just under 40,000, which isn't very much, but it's not anything to scoff at. You know, it's not. I'm grateful for that amount pretty much, because I did go through the test of valor, and I had to rebuy everything after the fight was over. But when the mask gets thrown at you, you definitely want to use any means possible of having iframes, because that thing can kill you incredibly quickly. So when he does this, see how he's doing this? He's going to throw the mask, and it was off screen a little bit, so I had to just use Ninpo right away. And you don't have to take all of his health off, which is nice, because when you, I don't know, it's like 75% of his health taken off, he'll drop. And that point, you want to run up to him and OT him. But he's doing the mask a second time, so since he shot the fish at me as well, so I had to make sure that I used the Ninpo there. And you can dodge his attacks, but like I said, it's not consistent enough that I trust it, and I don't mind using Ninpo, and you shouldn't either. So just go up to him. Hopefully the detection is good for you, and press Y to execute him. And I did get the Master Ninja rank here. I usually get the lowest rank, and I don't care about it too much, but I'm usually like a ninja dog, and I don't care. But since we did the Test of Valor and you do all the fights, it'll give you Master Ninja most likely. But anyway, that has been Chapter 3. I will see you in the 4th chapter. Until then, please take care.